So Parc, we handle challenging blocks. What that means is those odd shapes and slope blocks. We do help clients with the heritage blocks. Most of the time it is a train shape, so it's quite long and narrow, and they do have some difficulty when it comes to designing, when they're fitting. Most of the time they don't just want a pool, they want other things to come with it, like a pergola, outdoor kitchen, fire pit, barbecue, you name it. And then we also help clients that with our fly block, which is a big block, but they have a building envelope, which they kind of not 100% sure how they can utilize this space properly. And most of the time, it does come with a higher fire rating. So how do we come up with a solution? So we focus on our core value. So we follow our sustainability, I forgot the words. Anyway, so we first look at the social sustainability. So we want to know what lifestyle you want, what status you're after, and we also want to know how we can look after your mental well-being. And then we'll look at your financial sustainability, your investment, which is your budget, the maintenance of the whole process, and the resale value of your investment as well. And then we're going to look into the environmental sustainability, which is the water management, like how much water is using, how we're going to manage this, like stormwater drainage, all sorts of things. And then we're going to look into the material choices and the longevities of the whole project. So when we have balanced the social and financial, we will achieve a price value for our clients. When we balance the social and environmental, we create this resonance value for our clients. And when we maintain financial and environmental sustainability, we create timeliness for the project. So why do we do what we do? I remember Alison was asking, but can you just show me one more time who here has children? Thank you. So who here enjoys seeing their children playing outside? Can you imagine your children can't play outside anymore? So if we don't manage those blocks properly, it escalates the rates of climate change. So when that happens, our kids will struggle when they play outside. Sometimes if you walk out, just picking up the kids at 35 degrees, it's really, really hot. My son keeps telling me, Mom, I'm melting. I'm melting, Mom. Like, imagine they can't play outside anymore. So we want to design a future where our children can enjoy outdoor comfortably. So we're going to move into the points that what needs to be considered when we're building pools on the slope. So first we need to figure it out where we want to put the pool and what size of pool we want to put in. So when we do that, we need to look into the orientation and the access of the site. For the pool, you really do want to put it on the north side of the block to capture as much sun as possible to heat it up. If you could, behind the building line would be good. Some R5 will struggle with that. Some heritage may struggle with that, sometimes because of the dual access at the front and the back. You want to consider the view line. Where do you actually want to view the pool? Is it off your bedroom? Is it off the dining room? You also want to consider where you want to access. Do you have a shower in the laundry room? That where you want to connect it to the pool area. When you come in, you come through there, shower, and then go into inside. And then we need to think about the surface access. So the surface access, including the pump, the pool lid, the pool cover, the skimmer box, all those things, and the gate. So most of the time, they say, they will give you kind of a standard. They give you 400 millimeters access on the side around the pool, but it's better if you have at least 600. where you can walk around, like if you need to service your lids, etc. So where the water line, you want a water line at least 1 meter off the sign boundary or any boundaries for council to be happy with that. Sometimes you may be able to push to 800 millimeters, but you really need to justify that like significantly to get that approved. And then we're going to think about the retaining wall. How much retaining do we need to do because it is on a slope? So if you could keep it under 1.4, it would be ideal because it will help your drainage as well. If there's anything is above 1.4, see if you could do a split. So drop the pool or raise the pool a little bit where the bottom retaining wall is 1 meter high, and anything after that, like 600, is above that. So you would actually create a better connections between the property, the pool, and the site. And when it is retaining, there is a lot of engineering going into that, and it depends on how close do you want it to be within the building. So some clients want it tucked on the site, but it's very, very close to the house. And when the house is an older house, is not piered properly, then there's a lot of engineering going into that. So we kind of touch on the drainage. Drainage is a part of it with the retaining wall and the site water management. Then we want to think about, so how much water do you actually want to use for this pool, because there's a lot of evaporations going with the pool and a lot of heating. So if you want to use the pool as much time as you possibly could during the year, you would heat up the pool, but the larger the pool, the longer it takes to heat up. And then you also want to think about the pump and the filter, and also potentially a water tank if it's a larger pool. So if it's a larger pool, you need to apply for BASIC, and you need to follow to put a water tank for that pool. So I would look into if you actually have the room for the water tank before I would even consider having a larger pool. So once we've figured out roughly where we want to put it, we can look into the size that and the option and the type that you could have. So for a larger size pool like those ones, you most likely will need a water tank. But you have the options of concrete pool. It comes in with all different sizes and shapes that you want, and fiberglass as well. So mid-size pool, you basically have the concrete, precast, and fiberglass option. With the smaller pools and the punch pool, you basically have everything that you, if you want it. So there's many different options there. So then once we've figured out what size and what type of pool we want, we can think about the materials. Because we're building on a slope and an odd-shaped block, so we want to maximize the space that we have. So these are the suggestions for you to think about when it comes to designing around your pool. Maybe some fencings that attach onto the retaining wall instead of on the slab. In ground cover, but again, you still need some access even though it is in the ground, same as the skimmer box. So what Peter mentioned before is the motorized cover is those lids that is either slides in and out or up and down. So he would be able to help you with that. And then you may be thinking about the static of the pool and put in a water feature around that as well. So then we have pavings. Paving is important. So around a pool, the only decking I would recommend would be a metal frame with composite decking. So there's a lot of options there, but if you want, but they tend to get hot quicker than a timber deck. But if you look at higher quality decking, they tend to be a bit cooler than than the lower budget one. So with pavings, you have obviously the natural stone and the man-made stone. Natural stone tend to be cooler underfoot, more pleasant underfoot. You have more options and sizes difference, all kinds of patterns you want. So with the concrete, it is getting popular. The issues that I have from clients is that, especially on a slope block, concrete will crack. So when there's no pavings on top, and once that cracked, it wouldn't look good. So that's a consideration, but it is a cheaper option than the stone pave, and it does look good. So you've got your coping profiles as well. So the drop edge is getting popular now, but ask your suppliers whether your coping, drop edge coping is in one piece or is it a minus joint. Otherwise, when it's not applied properly, well, ask Kieran how he could help you with that. But when it's not applied properly, when the temperature going up and down during the day and night, it could crack. So we are going to move to planting. The experts is here, Chris at the back. So we really need to focusing on what's up the top and down below. So we want to avoid any kind of invasive roots because of the water around and the structure. And we want to avoid any fine leaves planting. We don't want leaf litters to drop in the pools. So if you could find something, if you do need something taller, find something larger. When it drops directly below, and you just clean up one leaf instead of a bunch of leaves, and some evergreens. So if you could do your planting as low planting around your pool area, inside the pool area and adjacent directly out, it's helped with the compliance as well. So anything that is shrubs, you may have trouble getting it approved with council with the safety. So many of you must think, so there's a lot of information. How much does it cost? I can't tell you that because of all those considerations. But let's have a look at how much would it cost you not to have it. We got a client came in and asked for a design a couple of weeks ago. So we did a case study. So their property is at Highfields. So they have a 4-bedroom, 3-bath and 4 cars on a 550 square meters. So they bought it 1 year ago at $1.24 million. So if we look at today's value, I'm sorry, the real estate agents, please don't pick on me. But at a 8.7 increase, so today's value, it's 1.347 mil. But if we're looking at a different property in the same area with less bath, less car, tiny bit bigger, with a pool. Now the pool, I did look at it. It's just a standard fiberglass pool, not fancy, normal retaining, not even glass fencing. So it's very, very basic pool. They sold it today at 1.53 million. So I estimated the pool is roughly about $100,000. Depends on when they build it. So they could have built it 10 years ago. It could be much cheaper, but it looks new to me. So I just kind of estimated it could be lower. So not only you're missing out the lifestyle that you want, you're missing out swimming in the pool, you are losing the $82,000 in return if you have sold your house today with a pool. So this is kind of it. Do we have any questions?
Well, not so much a question, but I see that by having the pool, you get the kids off your iPad.
Yep.
You get them out in the yard, out of your hands, not out of your back, and you're adding value to your property. So when it's done the right way, you're going to get the value of the property is going to go up. So when you resell, you've got resale value as well. So So it's an overall, it's a great option.
Kairos,
Yes.
just let's say I want to build a pool in my, what's the process I would start with? Would I come and see you first? What's the steps involved?
Yeah, you would.
Go to end.
So you would come and see me first. We'll do what we call a preliminary session. So I'll go through where you are now, where you want to go, how do we want to do it, and then we'll figure it out a plan, and then we'll talk to the options that you looked into, like what options, what budget do we have, and then we'll work. So I do project manage.
Okay, so you project manage the
I
whole.
project manage the whole.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, just one quick question. There's a few different types, like freshwater, saltwater, mineral, chlorine. What's sort of your recommendations? I guess it's the person.
Yeah, it's really depends on the lifestyle, I guess they want, but there's many different ones coming out. I can't really keep up, but I remember you did mention, so Chet has a pool and he opted for the naked one. Yeah, naked system, and he recommends that. So he recommends that, and I'm going to talk to a representative and to find out more. But yeah. But yes.
Yeah, another question. What's the running cost per year?
Depends on the size of the pool. So for the larger pool, because I don't have a pool, I don't personally have a pool, but many clients would come back and saying, hey, I turn on my heater for a good few hours, for a good few days, but the temperature is not moving. It's because they're just not turning it on long enough, and they don't put the cover on. So you need to think about, especially if that's why it's important to put it on and off, to capture the sun. And if you don't have that, then you single rely on the pump itself instead of with the lid and the pump. It could take more. So it's not something that I can just say for this size that will be it. It depends on the orientation. It is important to have it off.
Any other questions? Beautiful. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming.